Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Let's get started. We are here on December 16th, 2021 at about 9 o'clock to consider the settlement stipulation that was filed in the matter of the application of Dominion Energy Utah to extend service to Green River in docket number 21-057-12. At this time, let's take appearances for the record, please. I'm sorry, Ms. Clark, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Is that correct? We can't hear you. Okay. Okay, at this time, let's stop streaming. Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. My apologies. My name is Jennifer Clark. I'm counsel for Dominion Energy. I have with me Austin Summers. He'll be speaking on behalf of the company today. I also have Mr. Messersmith, Scott Messersmith, with me here today in the event that the commission has any questions for him. Jeff Bybee and Mayor Bacon are on standby. If the commission has any questions for either of them, we would request a brief break so that we can get them on the phone, but they're available to answer any questions as well.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. For the division, please.
Good morning. This is Patricia Schmid with the Utah Attorney General's Office. The division's witnesses today are Mr. Russ Kazir and Mr. Jimmy Beetham. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Ms. Clark, I apologize. I'm hearing some background noise. So whoever is speaking, can you please make sure that you're on mute? Thank you. Ms. Clark, please call your first or your witness.
We do, Ms. Hogel, have one preliminary matter.
Okay.
If we may address that. Paragraph 19 of the settlement stipulation provides that all pre-filed testimony and pleadings in this docket be admitted, and we would simply move for the admission of those things pursuant to the settlement stipulation.
Okay, and does that include everything that the division filed as well?
If the division would like to join the motion, we would certainly welcome that.
The division will join the motion. Thank you.
Okay, so I assume there are no objections. Okay, they are admitted. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, the company would call Mr. Austin Summers.
Mr. Summers, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Summers, please state your name and business address for the record.
My name is Austin Summers, and my business address is 333 South State Street, Salt Lake City, Utah.
And what position do you hold with the company, Mr. Summers?
I'm a manager of rates and regulation.
Did you participate in the drafting of the settlement stipulation that is before the commission today?
Yes.
Could you please summarize that stipulation and the relief the parties seek?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time today. Before I begin, I just want to thank the division and the Department of Pipeline Safety for their help in this docket. Their input in this docket helped address the necessary aspects of the PEMC purchase that is necessary to serve Green River. In this docket, Dominion Energy seeks commission approval to expand to the rural community of Green River. Though this would be new infrastructure in a new rural community, the resource decision is nothing more than a continuation of the program that was approved in the Eureka and Goshen docket. The only difference in this docket is the purchase of the PEMC pipeline. The application and accompanying testimony provided all of the evidence required to support approval of the resource decision. In my pre-filed direct testimony, I addressed the evidentiary requirements for the resource decision, discussed how and why the company chose Green River as the next expansion location, explained how many customers are expected to participate, how costs would be recovered, and provided other relevant financial and operational information. Mr. Messersmith's testimony explains the scope of the project, construction schedule, the cost of the project, commissioning of the PEMC pipeline, and the geographic results of the community's interest in natural gas. Mr. Bybee's testimony discussed the process of converting appliances to natural gas, the disposal of propane equipment, and the safety benefits of being a Dominion Energy customer. Finally, Mayor Bacon discussed community growth in Green River, benefits natural gas would bring to his community, and explained his support of this project. Taken together, the evidence provided shows that the resource decision is just and reasonable in result, and that approval of the application is in the public interest. The settlement stipulation largely accepts the company's proposal as filed. There are a few additional provisions that I want to walk through, and so I'll draw your attention to paragraphs 6 through 14 of the settlement stipulation. Paragraph 6 states that Dominion Energy should receive a certificate of public convenience and necessity to serve Green River. Paragraph 7 states that Dominion Energy should be authorized to purchase the PEMC pipeline and construct the facilities proposed in the application to serve the community of Green River. Paragraph 8 explains that the costs of the expansion will be collected through the Rural Expansion Rate Adjustment Tracker that is contained in Section 9.02 of the tariff. Paragraph 9 states that companies should receive approval of the conversion to service plan that was revised in the settlement stipulation. Paragraph 10 states that the hazardous facilities order and the PEMC restrictions should be lifted. Paragraph 11 states that Dominion Energy will not be responsible for the fine levied against the operator of the PEMC pipeline in the hazardous facilities order. Paragraph 12 provides that the company will file copies of any necessary permits obtained for construction. Paragraph 13 states that if the costs of the resource decision exceed the estimates provided in the testimony of Mr. Messersmith, the company will seek commission approval of the excess costs prior to including those costs in the tracker. Approval of any increase will be subject to the statutory spending caps discussed in my direct testimony. Finally, paragraph 14 states that the company will work with Green River to ensure that all homes will be inspected by a city inspector before a meter will be set. In fact, the company has confirmed that the city plans to use the same inspector that does inspections for the rest of Emery County. Based on the evidence in the record and the stipulation of the parties in this docket, the company requests approval of the settlement stipulation. And that concludes my summary.
Mr. Summers is available for commission questions or cross-examination.
Thank you. Does the DPU have any questions for Mr. Summers?
The division does not. Thank you.
And I don't either. Thank you, Mr. Summers.
Thank you.
The company has nothing further.
Thank you. The division can call its first witness.
Thank you. The division would call Mr. Russ Kazir as its first witness. May he please be sworn.
Mr. Kazir, do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Russ Kazir, that's Russczazier,
By whom are you employed?
the Division of Public Utilities for the state of Utah,
What is your job title?
utility analyst,
And what is your business address?
160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City.
In conjunction with your employment by the division, have you participated in this docket?
I have.
Could you please briefly describe your activities?
My activities on this docket entailed reviewing the application and the accompanying exhibits and testimonies. I participated in meetings with the company, submitted and reviewed data requests to obtain additional information, conducted analysis, filed testimony, and reviewed the recent Dominion rural infrastructure filings and orders.
Did you participate in or were you aware of the settlement discussions that led to the stipulation being filed in this docket?
I did.
Do you have a statement in support of that stipulation?
I do.
Please proceed.
Dominion Energy submitted its application in this docket on August 5th of this year. The application proposed and sought commission approval for the company to extend its natural gas service to serve the rural community of Green River, Utah. This request is similar to Dominion's 2019 application to extend natural gas service to Eureka and Dominion's 2021 application to extend natural gas service to Alberta and Goshen. Mr. Jimmy Beetham and I filed direct testimony on behalf of the division on October 29th. Mr. Beetham addressed pipeline safety related issues, and I addressed the remaining issues. I addressed particular concerns of importance to the division. These included the criteria specified in the company's application generally satisfies the necessary requirements. An issued certificate of public convenience and necessity should include conditions. The company's requested approval to acquire certain existing natural gas facilities, the PEMC pipeline, in addition to adding new construction to lower infrastructure costs to provide natural gas service to Green River. And finally, the company's request for the company to be permitted to recover all the costs of the resource decision associated with the infrastructure expansion to Green River by use of the Rural Expansion Tracker. On December 10th of this year, the division agreed to a settlement stipulation with the company. This stipulation was agreed to after several days of arm's length negotiations regarding the issues listed above and other issues. The division believes that overall the infrastructure extension meets the requirements of Section 5417-401 et sec, and is just and reasonable in result and is in the public interest. Of particular importance to the division are the following provisions in the stipulation. Paragraph 12, which provides for the necessary construction permits to be filed. Paragraph 13, which prevents excess project spending without additional commission approval. And paragraph 14, which affirms the company will work with the city of Green River for safe conversion to natural gas service. In summary, the settlement stipulation contains conditions that are just and reasonable in result in public interest. The division requests the commission approve the stipulation as filed. And this concludes my testimony, my summary.
Thank you. Mr. Kazir is available for cross-examination questions and questions from the hearing officer.
Ms. Clark, do you have any questions for Mr. Kazir?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
I don't either. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
The division would like to call its second witness, Mr. Jimmy Beetham. May he please be sworn.
Good morning, Mr. Beetham. Excuse me. Do you swear to tell the truth today?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Jimmy W. Beetham, Jimmy, W for my middle initial, Betham.
By whom are you employed?
I'm employed by the Division of Public Utilities, Office of Pipeline Safety. I am currently working as a pipeline safety engineer.
What is your business address?
My business address is in the Heber Wells building, the 4th floor, 160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84111.
Turning to what you've done and testified to before the commission in the past, did you participate in what is commonly known as the PEMC docket?
Yes, I have.
Turning to this docket now, have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
Yes.
Please briefly describe your activities in this docket.
Yes, I participated in this docket on behalf of the division and its pipeline safety section. Other division employees conducted non-pipeline safety related activities and analyzes in this docket. The other division witnesses, Mr. Russell Kazir, has described those activities. The Utah Pipeline Safety Section and I reviewed the application and accompanying testimonies. We submitted pipeline safety-related data requests to Dominion Energy Utah. The Utah Pipeline Safety Section and I conducted a detailed review, discussion, and analysis of the application, testimonies, and pipeline safety-related data request responses. As the docket progressed, we participated in settlement discussions and in settlement negotiations.
Do you have a statement to provide in support of the stipulation from the pipeline safety perspective?
Yes.
Please proceed.
As I mentioned, my statement today addresses only the activities and positions related to the pipeline safety related aspects of the application. Dominion Energy Utah submitted application for approval of a rural natural gas infrastructure development project to extend service to Green River, Utah on August 5th, 2021. In its application, the company requests that the Commission approve the CSP, and if the application is approved and the company closes on the purchase of the PEMC pipeline, discontinue all PMC restrictions and vacate the hazardous facility order and the HFO notice. DEU also requests that the Commission issue a declaratory order indicating that the Dominion Energy is not and will not be responsible to pay the penalty assessed in the PNC docket. I filed direct testimony on October 29th, 2021. My direct testimony presented our analysis of the application and recommended approval of the application subject to the Commission imposing additional conditions in response to certain concerns. In my direct testimony, I supported discontinuance of the HFO and HFO notice and the PEMC restrictions. I recommended that the Commission declare that the company was not and will not be responsible for the penalty assessed in the PEMC docket. Finally, I stated that the additional requirements needed to be incorporated in the CSP and recommend that the approval of the application be conditioned upon imposition of those conditions. Specifically, I stated that the CSP needed to contain additional details regarding determination of the maximum allowable operating pressure MAOP and notification and communications. As a result of the settlement discussion, a settlement agreement was reached and the CSP was revised. The division signed the settlement agreement. The settlement satisfactorily resolves the issues in this docket, concerns and conditions identified in my testimony, and makes other improvements to the application and the CSP as filed. I'll next provide more detail of why the division signs and supports the stipulation. Of particular importance to the division are the following statement or settlement and revised CSP provisions. 1. The settlement at paragraph 10 recommends that the Commission approve discontinuing the HFO and thus the HFO notice and the PEMC restrictions. The division inspects DEU's procedures and records yearly and has confidence that the items identified in HFO are not an issue for DEU, as DEU already addresses these items in its standard practices. Thus, it is reasonable to now discontinue the HFO notice, and the PEMC restrictions when DEU acquires the PEMC pipeline. 2. The settlement recommends at paragraph 11 that the Commission declare that the company is not and will not be responsible for the $100,000 penalty imposed in the PEMC docket. The division has worked with DEU and its predecessors for many years and has not encountered the issues that require the imposition of the penalty in the PEMC docket. As a general rule, when division has encountered probable violations with DEU, they have been resolved in a reasonable manner and in a reasonable time frame. Thus, because of this and the concerns being addressed in DEU standard practices, it is reasonable to take the request action regarding the penalty. 3. At paragraph 9, the settlement recommends that the Commission approve DEU's revised CSP. Here are some provisions of the CSP that were especially important to the division. Importantly, the revised CSP at number 6 of the commissioning section, page 11 of the filing settlement packet, includes changes to provisions dealing with the maximum allowable operating pressure, MAOP. I'll start by providing a little bit more information about what the MAOP is and why it's important. MAOP is the maximum pressure at which a pipeline or a segment of a pipeline may be operated under this part. The maximum allowable operating pressure allows safe parameters for the operators to perform operation and maintenance work on the pipeline. This allows the operational pressure not to exceed the MAOP limit. The revised CSP incorporates steps in the MAOP determination process that meets the regulation and concepts identified in DEU's responses to DPU's data requests 2.16. This satisfies the division's concerns about the MAOP determination. Next, in this section, at number 1A, 1B, and 3, pages 11 and 12 of the file settlement package, the revised CSP satisfies the division's concerns about communication, notification, and construction field inspections. For example, at number 1A, the company agrees that it will email both the division and its pipeline safety section periodic project updates on significant milestones related to the reactivation of the PEMC pipeline. These reports will continue until construction is complete. This and the revised CSP's similar revisions are important because they better allow the division to verify the pipeline complies with natural gas pipeline codes. In summary, the settlement stipulation with its included revised CSP represents a reasonable compromise on contested issues and in the result of arm's length negotiations. For these reasons, from the pipeline safety perspective, taken as a whole, the settlement is just and reasonable in result and in the public interest. I recommend the Commission approve the settlement and its accompanying revised CSP as filed. This concludes my statement.
Thank you. Mr. Beetham is available for cross-examination questions and questions from the hearing officer.
Does DEU have any questions for Mr. Beetham?
No, the company has no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just have one quick clarification, and it's not really a clarification, it's just a question to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. Currently, because the pipeline is offline, there is no safety concern. Is that correct, Mr. Beetham?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And so your understanding is that currently the PEMC pipeline does not pose a safety hazard to the public. Is that correct?
As long as there's no gas transported currently and the pipeline remains what we call purged of natural gas, yes, the pipeline does remain safe.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that there's no safety concern there. All right. Those are all my questions. I want to thank everybody for today and for your testimony and for showing up early. And I wonder if anybody has any questions.
We have no questions.
The division also has no questions.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And we will be issuing an order in accordance with the statutory deadlines for this type of proceeding. So thank you again, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.